Greg, thanks so much for being here, man.
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me, man.
Flying all the way down here on your 50th birthday.
On my 50th birthday.
Or you could be spending time with all of your family. But it means a lot to me that you're here, honestly.
Yeah.
And I love working with you. I love spending time with you. I love learning with you. And I love helping you learn because I know that you have a passion and a drive and a focus and a discipline that is far superior to most people that I spend time with. So it's amazing to just see this energy and to see this dedication paying off.
Well, that means a lot coming from you, Jay. Definitely it does. Yeah, it definitely does.
Very sincere, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So my goal in this recording, all the videos that are here and me and you working together is really just answer questions that you have. And I'll be pulling up on my chart best I can to kind of mimic what's on your screen. But in the same instance, I want people to understand a few things. Number one, kind of what it's like a little bit for a coaching session. You and I are only going to spend 2 days together realistically. First time you came down here was for 5 days.
Yeah.
And we did everything from incredible, insane marine workouts to back training for 10 hours straight. And I want people to kind of get an idea of, number one, a little bit about what a coaching session in person looks like, but also number two, some of the questions people have, because a lot of people have a fear that they're the only ones that have these questions. They're the only ones that feel a certain way. And I want them to realize that everyone has questions. I have questions, you have questions. I'm gonna do my best to answer those questions. So whoever might be watching this video, number one, get some true value, but number two, learn a little bit as well in the meantime. So what question you got for me, my man?
Well, one thing that's been on my mind lately is ARC, ESPO. I won't go to this ticker specifically, but it's I think it's what everybody else has. It's when you get into something and it's running up, when do you get out? Yeah, when do you get out? You know, my fear is if I get out at a particular time and I liquidate all my shares and then it runs up, you know, then that's that FOMO I should have stayed in. But, you know, I'm also hearing that you selling the strength, selling the strength, buying the weakness, right? So specifically with ARC going up, and I know a lot of people talk about, they say just buy whatever they're buying as opposed to. Yeah. But if she's buying it, I'm buying it.
Sure.
You know, and I'm rocking with them.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about getting out a while ago, but each time I think to get out, it goes up more. But at some point, it's going to come back, and I don't want to give that profit away. So how do you gauge what might be that selling point? You know?
Totally. It's a great question, man, because I think that's probably one of the ones I get the most is simply when do you sell? Yeah. And it doesn't matter what stock it is. Like on my screen here, it could be ARC Innovation ETF, right? I mean, this stock is up over the last since March, 340%, which is amazing. Yeah. So when do you sell? And the answer to that question is, unfortunately, it depends. But here we go. I'll do my absolute best to really provide true context. In my opinion, there are a few ways to approach a sell order. Number one, you want to have a goal for when you get into a particular trade. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what the stock is, what the company is, you want to have some type of goal written out in advance because there are really three main types of trades. There's a day trade, there's a swing trade, and then there's an investment. And a day trade obviously is a day. You're in and out that day, you're going to move on, it's all good. Number two, a swing trade, you're going to be in from multiple days to multiple weeks to multiple months, maybe even multiple years. And then you have an investment, which is generally you're going to be in this thing for a while. A while meaning 3, 4, 5 years. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about both the swing trade, day trade, investment. Rule number one, you will never sell the top, ever. Yeah. So wherever you sell, it'll go higher. Guaranteed. Always. Always. Which is frustrating because you're gonna think and you're gonna feel, well, how do I know exactly where to get out? The answer is you don't. You won't know. You will have zero idea of exactly where the top is. But now, on that note, if we're dealing with an exact trade that we're in, a lot of times what I like to do is I like to blend an investment in a trade where on a trade, I like to have some type of goal in mind, some type of monetary figure, where if it's a trade, I want to create cash flow so that I can take that cash flow and do something with it. Okay. For example, if I get into a trade and I go, on this particular trade, my goal is to make X amount of % return, X amount of risk units, X amount of dollars, or euro, or however you're trading it. I want to make this amount of money on this trade. You take that amount of money you're trying to make on that trade and you buy something. Maybe it's a new computer. Maybe it's a new car. Okay. Maybe it's a new house. Maybe it's a new refrigerator. Maybe it's a new camera, a new phone, some chairs, a new table. Everything you actually see in front of you, I bought with trading.
Gotcha.
Because I go, all right, I want this thing, right? This table, this is a handcrafted table. And I will go, all right, I like this table. I like this idea. Here's what I want to do. This table, this computer, this phone costs X amount of dollars. So you put that on a plan. You write that down. You go, it's going to cost $4,000 for me to buy this thing that I want to buy. So when I get into a trade, I'm going to do my best to make this amount of money to buy this particular thing. And initially, that doesn't sound like amazing advice, but it really is, because what happens is you start to get this process where you reward yourself for making a good trade. And it doesn't have to be something material. Let's say that you have everything you could possibly want in life. You're like, I got it all.
Got it all.
I have everything I could possibly want. I was like, okay, well then donate the money.
Yeah.
Come up with an amount of money that you want to donate to a charity or to your church or to your community or to a community center that scares you. So has someone ever walked up and given $2,000 away in cash to a homeless person? Like, well, if you got everything you want, go do that. And let's see if that'll start changing your life a little bit. Because it's doing those things that are uncomfortable is what's going to make us grow. So bottom line, there is going to be a location and a time where you're going to want to say, I'm taking this trade to make this amount of money for this reason, whatever that reason is. So that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, if you get into a trade up front, you also want to come up with some type of plan on, is it an investment or is it a trade? Because if it's an investment, unfortunately, you're going to have to hold through retracements. You're going to have to hold through pullbacks. Apple, I believe, has had 9 30% or more pullbacks over the last decade. 9. So if you're an investor in Apple over 10 years ago, you've held through 9 30% pullbacks. Where let's say you had $1 million in Apple, right? A 30% pullback. So your $1 million went all the way down to 700,000 and some change. And then it went all the way back up to, let's say, 2 million. And then it would have had a 50% pullback. So 2 million goes all the way back down to 1 million. So the question is, do you hold through those retracements and pullbacks, or do you try to time the top? Do you try to exit? Which brings me to an option strategy that you and I are going to learn today. And that option strategy is a collar. So a collar is where you sell a call option against your shares, and you use that call option to buy insurance on the downside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this particular chart, and I'm going to show traders a trade that you're actually in with real money, and it's absolutely one of the most astounding trades I've ever seen. I want to make sure that we're clear on this.
Okay. Which
this
one
is insane.
Because I got a bunch of them. Which one is that? I got a few now.
I got a few trades that are insane.
RLT back. Yeah, I got a few.
You do. But we're going to pull up NEO on my screen.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
because okay. NEO...
You can't even call that a trade. You don't even call that a trade.
I don't even know what to call it.
I don't know
what to call it. The reason I'm really, really geeking out is I have not made any money from NEO. Well, I've made hundreds of dollars on NEO, but you've made tens of thousands, high 5 figures, because you bought NEO at $1.50, Greg. $1.50 is like the lowest it ever went was $1.19. And you bought a lot of them.
Should have brought more.
You bought a lot of NEO at $1.50. The lowest it ever went is $1.19. It's at $61. It's at $61.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a beautiful, beautiful example. You get what is commonly referred to in this particular situation. You have a 600 bagger.
Oh, I blew the 10X around. Huh?
Dude, you're gone.
I just blew the 10X
a 10 bagger is toast. You have a 60 bagger, man. This is insane.
Wow.
Mind-boggling. So when you buy something at such an incredibly low price, and then the stock is just absolutely just rampaging, there's no real reason to sell it. Because if your dollar cost average is so low, the question simply becomes, do you want to sell it? Do you need to sell it? Do you have to sell it? Because you open up a $1,500 account, and that account is now over $50,000. Is that right?
You're close to it.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
That's insane. Now, that's also very exciting because you get to ask the question, what do you want to do with that particular amount of money?
Don't forget the scary part, too. That's kind of scary, too. Because, when you're holding back through those pullbacks, you're like, oh, should I get out now? And I don't want to see that profit go away. But it speaks back to something that you said initially is, obviously, I went into a couple of these trades and I didn't have it fully thought out.
Yeah.
Right. I had my entry, but I didn't have whether or not it was. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be a day trade. So it turned into a swing or an investing, and I needed to kind of solidify. Sounds like I needed to solidify. What is it?
Correct.
Is it going to be that investment thing?
Yeah, exactly. And just knowing in advance when we get into a trade, this is how we approach it. If it is an investment, you're going to hold for a very long time. You're going to hold through retracements. And normally you tell yourself that. Normally you write down on a piece of paper, or one of the best advices I've ever given myself and a few other students is make a video of yourself to yourself and put it on your YouTube channel or whatever. And it's private, right? No one else can see other than you. I call it a time capsule.
Okay.
And I have numerous time capsules. I have time capsules for trades. I have time capsules for just my personal life, just things that I want to tell my future self. And so every year, 3 years, and 5 years, I go back to my time capsule and I'm speaking to myself, telling myself, hey, if you're in this stock, or if your body looks like this, you better do this. Or if you haven't done this, you better start stepping up your game and doing this. Like, I'm talking to myself. Mm-hmm. And I go back and watch those videos, and every single time I do it, it's a very emotional experience. But at the end of the day, that is a phenomenal way to tell yourself and to remind yourself of what you're doing that particular trade for, or that particular investment. Because for me, you're young, man. You're 50. That's young, dude. Plus, you look like you're 33, number one.
It's a lot of Grecian formula going on here.
But number two, not only are you incredibly intelligent, but you have the ability to take a certain amount of money and start buying other cash flow creating assets. So you can take money that you make from trades, use that money and go buy some type of asset where that asset literally creates more value in the future. So for some traders, they could take, let's say, make $100,000 on a trade over the course of 3 or 4 years. You take out that $100,000 and you go invest it into a real estate position. And that real estate position gives you a net return of 8% every single year guaranteed, right? So you just make 8% return on that $100,000. Now it's a passive $8,000 every single year that you don't have to do anything for. Then you go and try to replicate that. Go buy another position, try to make another $100,000. Take the $100,000, buy some other real estate investment. As an example.
Gotcha, yeah.
So being able to create this cash flow mentality of how can I take this and buy an asset with it? Because initially, a lot of people won't feel like what we're doing right here is an asset. And the ironic part is we are trained from a very young age that the only items that you should ever buy are physical items. The only items that you should ever have an asset in is physical assets. Example, we're taught at a young age, buy cars, buy TVs, buy couches, buy clothes, buy a house, and all those things are assets. And I've told you this before, and you remember this, unless you buy something that brings money into your account every month or every year, it's not an asset.
Yeah.
So if you have a house and you pay a monthly mortgage, it's a liability.
Yep.
If you have a car and that car costs you money every month, it's a liability. If you have a TV, it's a liability. Everything that you own is a liability unless it literally is putting money into your pocket. So when we start to rewire our brains and go, what really is an asset? Then you have the ability of taking both time, energy, resources, and money, which you did to not only fly down here, but you put your money where your mouth is and you go, hey man, we're going to do this trading stuff. This is now becomes an intangible asset.
Yes.
And you're investing in yourself and you're coming up with a knowledge and a skill set that you can use forever. And honestly, sometimes, man, that pays more than anything else because very frequently I found myself paying a lot of money to just be in a room with someone who's very, very smart, who's much wiser than I am, who says something about a particular stock and or industry. And I can take advantage of that. For example, you mentioned something about a bank. Let me pull up that bank stock. What was it?
Signature, SBYN.
SBYN, or SBNY?
Yeah,
SBNY.
SBNY.
Okay. No, all good. So Signature Bank. Now, I've never heard of this, and you brought this up to my attention just a few moments ago, right before we started this interview. And you said that you heard about this from who?
It was called the Paradise Beach. It's a guy who was on YouTube.
Okay.
But let me.
But it was a free thing.
It wasn't a free thing. I had to pay for the newsletter.
Wait a minute. Oh, that's the point. So what you did is you went on a YouTube thing, whatever. You watched the video. The guy did a pitch.
Yep.
And you're like, there's some value here.
It spoke to blockchain, and I tell you, I'm on the blockchain.
Yeah.
It spoke to that. Yep.
So you took some money out of your pocket and you bought a thing.
I bought a thing.
And when you bought that thing, it was an intangible asset. It wasn't anything that you owned.
Correct.
Right? It was something that came digitally. It was something you had to spend time to read. You had to open your email, scroll through it, and read it. Mm-hmm. Now, when you did that, you saw a particular trade that you took advantage of, and this was on Signature Bank. And you bought, let's see, on your position, you bought $121 a share. How much did you buy? Do you remember?
Initially bought 50.
50 shares. Beautiful. So you put your small toe in the water. You're like, maybe this goes higher, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But you bought 50 shares, and then since you bought it, that position's up 70%.
Yeah, but I sold some along the way, so I'm only holding.
Yeah, at this point. That's okay.
Yeah, that was one of those things where I'm like, oh.
But again, what you did is you took money and time, energy and resources. You bought an intangible asset. That intangible asset turned around and was able to help you make more money.
Oh yeah.
Those are the things that people need to be investing in. Those are the things that people need to be taking their money and investing directly into this brain, because you have so much time. Be around people who study something, who pour massive amounts of time into a sector, into a company, into a stock, into a trading room, into an organization, and be around this so that you can gain that knowledge and experience, and then it'll pay back usually tenfold. You know, because however much that newsletter costs, you definitely made more on this trade than this newsletter.
I paid $99 for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you crushed that.
Easy.
Right? So, and again, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to sign up for a newsletter, but when I first got started into the market, it was Motley Fool. Right? Motley Fool, they have like a newsletter they send out, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And so I just started researching and reading it. It's entertaining, it's interesting, especially if you like the stock market. But if someone's watching this video, they most likely are interested in the stock market. They're intrigued by its movement and by the assets. So getting back to when do you sell? One particular way is, again, you have your number in mind that you're trying to buy something for. You have an investment that you're trying to put into yourself, whatever that is, a house, a coaching session, some type of investment that you can literally buy. It makes you more value. So these have these two things. Then number three, if a stock or position that you're in makes a brand new all-time high, right? And it's never been as high as it is now. And it does what I refer to as an S curve. So let's look at Signature Bank. Signature Bank's a great example. It right now is at an all-time high. And if we look at and we zoom out, what it's doing right now, it's never done before. It is literally going straight up.
Yes.
Never in its history has it gone straight up like this to this magnitude. And when it did, it eventually pulled back every single time, which means that this will pull back. The whole fear of missing out, I'm not sure if I'm getting out the exact top. Again, you're not getting out the exact top. Everything pulls back eventually. Doesn't matter how much, but it will pull back, right? Bitcoin in 2017, right? Goes up to 19,000, goes all the way back down to 3,000. And then it traded around for a while at 3,000 and eventually went up to 45, where me and you were in Bitcoin pretty heavy. We're in blockchain related positions and stocks and companies. Well, you are, I'm just in Bitcoin. But the goal is when a company has what it was referred to as a parabolic move, which is an extremely, extremely strong bullish run up with massive volume and massive momentum, those positions will pull back. So for me, I do exactly what you did, what's called a trim and trail. I sell some along the way. I move up my position. If I don't have 100 shares, I sell a little bit, move up a stop. Sell up a little bit, move up a stop. Sell a little bit, move up a stop. That's fine. And then when you get into this new all-time high, this new big move, if you have 100 shares or more, you get into a caller, right? You sell a call, you use the proceeds from those calls to buy a put. The put protects your downside. The call pays for that put purchase. And now you have, generally, if you do it and time it correctly, you can have an unlosable position for a certain period of time.
That's the thing, that timing is everything.
Timing
is everything.
Yeah, timing is everything. And generally, man, when you get the big volume, big bullish volume spike at a new high. So if we go look at Signature Bank on the daily. So again, I'm not in this position at all, but if I was, yesterday would have probably been the day that I would have done something. Because yesterday you get some of the highest volume that it's had at an all-time high, and then today we gap up. So when you get this massive run up, I most likely would have gotten into a covered call or a collar up here, probably for 210 or 215. And most likely what Signature Bank's going to start doing is something like this before too long, is where it just starts to slow down, pause, and gets into a distribution phase where it begins to trade sideways and just kind of chill out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see. But my overall thought process is oftentimes, man, you're never going to call the top on anything. You have to be thinking of trading as a cash flow creation. Unless it's an investment and you love everything about the company, you love everything about the product, you love everything about the CEO, CFO, CMO, you've done tons of research. If it's an investment and you have an amazing dollar cost average like NEO, there's probably no reason to sell it, ever. Because it's going to have those retracements, it's going to have those movements. But honestly, do you think NEO could hit $100 a share?
I'm pretty sure NEO's going to hit $100 a share.
Okay, by when?
I say before the end of the year. We're only in February.
We're in February, early February of 2021. So you're saying NEO's going to hit $100 by the end of the year.
Let's see how far it is away.
It's not very far, man. So where it is right now, it would have to go up another 60% to get there. It's extremely possible.
Yeah, I think if we hit that $80 mark, it might get pushed up to 100.
I agree. I love the consolidation. I love the trend. So this is one of those situations where your dollar cost average is so low, there's no reason to sell it.
Yeah, I don't think I was going to sell that.
Yeah.
But the other thing with that is too, I was going to start doing the dollar cost averaging and buying but I love that 152 entry. If I do that, I'm going to lose that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can always screenshot it just to have it forever. Or you can just go, hey guys, look, I did this. I bought it at almost the exact low, which is amazing. Yeah. But in that same regard, man, when you're looking at a position like that, you get to determine, again, do you want to sell it? And if no, that's fine, don't. But if it goes to 100, you have to ask yourself, if it goes to 100, would you be willing to hold it from 100 all the way back to 50?
No, I wouldn't want to do that.
You wouldn't want to do that. So
I might, sell some of it out just to take some profits out.
But again, when it gets to 100, you could implement a collar. You could sell a covered call, right? You could buy a protective put, or you could just simply, if you don't want to cap your upside gains at all, and like let's say it goes to 100, like well, it could go to 200, then you could just buy a put, right? Buy an insurance that again, the insurance goes up if the stock goes down.
Yeah.
And when you have that put position that protects the downside, your upside is still unlimited, but you're going to have to spend some money to buy the insurance, and it will not be free. And
if it goes down, then I might have to buy it back.
Well, so if you have the long put...
but it would never get down to the... Well, no, if I buy the put, I'd have to buy strike price on the put.
Correct. So you're going to have to spend the money to buy the insurance. But if NEO goes down, all you have to do is sell the put. Right? You buy the put.
Buy the put. Yeah.
Stock goes lower. You sell the put, and that put brings in cash for being patient and holding through a retracement.
Yeah.
But what you got to ask the question is, at some point, NEO will have a 30 to 50% pullback. Just guaranteed. It doesn't matter if it's at 200 and it goes from 200 to 130.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen at some point. It has to. Every stock does it. Every stock. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, Apple, all of them. They've all had these massive, massive pullbacks. So you have to start saying now. You have to tell your future self, Greg, when it hits 100, you have to be willing for it to potentially pull back to X, Y, Z.
So I need to devise a plan of what I'm going to do before it hits 100.
Correct. So the biggest answer to your question is begin to forward think. Sit down and spend an hour. It doesn't matter if it's with me, if it's with you, if it's another mentor at Real Life Trading, or if it's just your wife and your family. Sit down and begin to think, what could happen to this stock and what will I do? Obviously, you don't know for sure, but you're just simply creating a plan. If it makes you feel better, create a plan A, B, and C. Right? If it does this, I'll do this. If it goes to this, I'll do this. And if it does this, I'll do this. And just come up with those numbers. Because it's very important to sit down. I mean, it's your money, and you get to determine what that looks like. Because also, you can start looking at, again, like assets and not only physical, but intangible assets. What could you buy with that money that you made from that stock? And could that investment return more than the money that you made on that stock?
The other thing for where that's becoming an issue, I don't want to say an issue, is with these stocks that are running up, it is tying up my capital. So it's prohibiting me being able to get into some other positions in my IBK account. But I do have the other accounts that I trade on also where I don't have as much capital as I do in that particular account. So I'm like, do I keep these and then move to my other account to start to build that up? So I'm kind of toiled between that.
Yeah.
Keeping those positions, maybe selling them out to free up some cash. That way I can then purchase more in my IBK account, because that's the one I want to ultimately, grow to that.
So my question is, I know we can't share your screen right now. That's okay. But tell me, of the companies in your Interactive Brokers, you can pull up, even though they won't be able to see it on the camera, we'll be able to talk about what stocks you have. So what stocks on that list do you just not like? There has to be one. because you're absolutely just slaying Riot. I mean, you're one of the greatest traders I've ever seen. You're just on fire. You're dominating Riot.
I appreciate
You're welcome.
That.
Your
but those things it just seems like all you need to do.
Your average price is $5. It's at 38 right now. Your average price is at $5. You're a maniac.
So which ones don't I like?
Yeah, there has to be one on this list. You got Riot, you got CME, you got ARC.
So I'm holding C. That's a new one. That was from yesterday.
Okay, you got Fuel Cell. Oh, well, that was a day trade.
But I'm out. Yeah, that's
out. You got ESPR, so it's esports gaming. So your son made you buy that one.
Yep.
You got the bank that we just looked at.
This is the one that out of all of those that I'm just not.
Jaguar Health.
Yeah.
Okay, are you up on it?
No.
Where did you buy this to not be up on it? Did you buy it the exact high, 420?
I brought it at
the highest possible price.
332.
Okay, so you are okay. You're break even. You break even.
Almost. Is it there now? Well, almost.
It's at 309. Yeah. So this will be one of those where that's a great question. But if you do have a position and you go through your portfolios, you're like, I don't really like it. Most people cut the winners and hold on to the losers.
Yeah.
What you want to do is cut the losers and hang on to the winners. So my thought, not an advice, just my opinion, is I would probably hold that for another day or two because based on this chart, it looks like it's going to go a little bit higher. You could have a stop loss on Jaguar Health to get out at 263. If it goes lower 263, you just cut it. If it goes up to 349, you up 10 cents per share. You have how many shares on that one?
300.
500 shares?
Yeah.
So you sell for a modest profit, you make $300-400, whatever, and you just dump it and move on.
Okay.
And then you can take that money and kind of start moving around and like just playing some more positions. But bottom line, look through your account and literally just.
I tried and I was like, I love art. Well, I don't love anything. Highly favorite art. I'm definitely not getting rid of ESPO.
Mm-hmm.
Riot, keeping Riot. Signature, I'm thinking I should have brought more Signature. But now after looking at it today, it would make sense not to kind of take that profit out with those little $10, 10 shares are still in there. Wait for the pullback, maybe buy it again. Yeah. And then that'll free up some of that capital.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, totally correct. That's a strong possibility. The other piece as far as capital is concerned is you could sell call options against shares to bring in cash.
I'm sorry, say that again?
You can sell call options against your shares to bring in some cash, right? That's, to the covered call method. You're not bringing in tons of cash if you do that, but sometimes $100 here, $100 there helps. Another thing you can consider is taking some money from an outside investment and putting more money into your trading account. So home equity line of credit. If you got cash in a bank account anywhere,
you
got any cash laying around a bank account?
Yeah, I do.
Boom.
Dump it.
Yeah, throw it in there. I mean, because again, this is a mind shift that a lot of people are afraid to make. And I'm not saying you're one of those people, but I was afraid for a while. I grew up with the always have a rainy day fund.
Yeah, in the bank.
Bro, I love the rain. What's a rainy day fund? That's what I have a credit card for.
All right.
So if a rainy day fund, I mean, you can have $400 in cash, like, in a money clip or something, just in case something legit crazy happens. But I almost never, ever have cash in a bank account. At 99.9% of my life, most of my cash is in a broker. Because then you can use interactive brokers as a debit card. Same thing with Thinkorswim, right?
Yep.
You can link debit cards and credit cards to multiple brokers, and you can literally just pay with it.
That was another question. I got that also. I was like, I thought about if you're making more money on the market, right? And you kind of tie your living to that, as long as you make more than you spend, that account will continue to grow.
Here's a mind grenade for you. TD Ameritrade is actually a bank, TD Bank, and you can have direct deposits into TD, and you can use your TD account as your checking account. Yeah. So you can literally have TD Bank be your bank account, and then all your money just flows through that. And so you can always funnel money into your trading account.
Yeah.
And then whatever you pull out, you just have a debit card. You just pull it out for your general expenses, right? Your day-to-day groceries or your milk or whatever, your coffee.
So it probably would behoove me to do that with that account. That way I can get that to grow as I'm putting more money. Then I can buy the shares in it.
Yeah. Because again, it's just a new way of thinking in the sense of just having that flexibility and not needing to have all of your cash in a bank account, because why? Like, what's the point? They're lending it out and they're buying shares. They're buying stock with it anyway.
And you get no interest on it.
You don't get any interest. So it's just dead cash.
Yeah.
Now, the fear, let's approach the fear. The fear is, well, I'm going to do something dumb, take a trade, do something stupid, blow out that account, and now I have no money at all. But you've gone past that. You've been doing this 3 years. You've already made really stupid decisions.
Yes, I have.
Right. Both me and you. We've already lost the money. We've already done the really stupid things. You've already done tons of the pain, waxed the legs, you've done all of it. But you punish yourself. You said, hey, man, I can't do this. And would you agree that you're a little bit more disciplined now than you were?
Oh, absolutely, I would.
Yeah,
that journey from 2019 to now, I can see the growth.
Yeah. And so now, when you have that discipline, you can have that structure. It's just a different way of thinking. It's different than the norm of life. And really, that's what you live in a day-to-day basis anyway, is just thinking different than the norm of life. Because yes, I would agree that with proper stops, with proper risk mitigation, you could have a swing trade, even if it's a margined, if all of your cash is there and they're on margin, but you have stops in place, so you can only lose 5% of your entire account max, worst case scenario. That's okay. Because then your cash is constantly being put to work, then you're constantly trading, and it gives you more cash opportunities, more cash injection. So it's a great question. And really, another thing to talk about, like when do you sell, is we have to realize that a lot of it, my friend, is psychological. Psychological in the deep subconscious way of humans naturally have a fear of missing out. We talked about this the other night, but I had an interview with Dr. Daniel Crosby, who is the author of The Behavioral Investor. And he said that through all of his research, he has come to the conclusion that humans will never be able to have enough money. Meaning you'll never have enough money.
Because you'll always have that thirst for something else and something else.
And it's not greed, it's just natural human nature. It's natural human that it's very hard for us to become satiated. And that is both a pro and a con. So a lot of times it comes down to this meditative, reflective, almost like yogi type of lifestyle where you have to realize at some point you have to become content with your life. You have to be like, you know what? I'm perfectly happy with what I have now. I can just give everything else away. I can live off of this income. Like your buddy Thomas Wong from Team F. He has a thing where he wants to do what's called flip the tithe, where he lives off of 10% of his income and gives away 90%.
Wow.
Yep. So think through that. And that's a pretty amazing, incredible aspiration.
That's life adjustment right there.
That's a life adjustment. And
depending on what your 10% is.
His 10% is not small. But it's okay. If you're making $1 billion a year, you can live off $1 billion and you give the other 9% away. But still, that's a life adjustment, as you're mentioning. That's a huge, huge mindset shift. So oftentimes, too, man, it comes to the realization that we don't need everything, right? I do my best to be extremely generous and give tons of money away, tons of time away, to pour into communities, into people, into their learning, into their habits. But at the end of the day, man, you're never going to get out the exact high. You're never going to have enough money. It's absolutely okay to want more. You're not greedy for wanting more money. You are excited and zealous because you know how many people you can help. If you have $1 billion, Greg, and I have $1 billion, we will literally change the world. We will leave a footprint that will never be washed away from the oceans of time.
We're doing that with less than $1 billion now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So something to think about is like come up with these goals, come up with these dreams that scare you, that scare your family, and figure out ways to step into those dreams, because money is just going to be an amplification tool of who you are. That's it. And if you have fear right now about achieving a dream, more money will not fix that fear. If you have a fear of, a relationship being torn apart because of money, that fear won't go away just because you have more money. If you have a fear of missing out and losing opportunities, that fear will only become amplified when you have more money. So it's something that psychologically we have to begin to address. And anytime we get what's called FOMO, aka the fear of missing out, I do my best to kind of take a deep breath and ask myself, how many meals can I eat at once? Right? How many bottles of beer can I have at one single, at one exact time? Yeah. How many cars can I drive at one single time? Right? We got beautiful vehicles out there, but we can only drive one at a time.
One at a time.
So there has to be this contentment and this purity where you're okay with whatever you are and just trade and just try to find ways to kind of slowly grow and understand that it's going to take time. Get rich slowly.
Get rich slowly. Or die trying.
50 Cent, don't sue us. We love you, Curtis. Yeah. That's a great question, man. What else you got for me?
The other one is now, with I've seen how I've been able to grow with my risk mitigation and being a little bit more wiser on trades. Now I think it's time to up my R.
Yep.
Scary part.
Yep.
It was the discipline of it that allowed me to recoup my account to where it is now because of my R.
Correct.
But, I am 50. So that time wheel is kind of moving forward.
There's a time wheel.
It is a time wheel. And I do have a plan in my mind of, I want to be, again, I love what I do. Absolutely love what I do, but I don't want to continue to do it. I have troops coming in behind me that I'm trying to mentor that, hey, you guys take this over. I'm out of here within the next 5 years. I want to cut that 5 down lower if possibly, but 5 years is definitely my max time. So with that being said, I have the multiple accounts. I have the one that I'm focusing on, with larger money plays. I have the smaller one that I'm looking to build via options. Then I have the other account just to kind of dip the toe in. Then I will apply those to the bigger money account.
Right.
So all that to say is I want to increase my R, but how much should I increase it?
Totally.
By?
What's your risk now? 300, I think?
I've been playing with 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just guessing.
Well, it was 3. It went from the 1 to the 3, then it went back down, then 5, then I blew that up. Then I said, well, now it's time to, maybe I can go back to the 500. I want to do the 1,000.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
May not be beneficial, but I think I'm comfortable with the 5, and I think I can.
How long have you been doing $500 of risk per trade?
I started at the beginning of the year. That's why you see the bunch of the 5s.
Got it.
Because I've just been doing my dollar.
So how have you been doing for the year so far?
I think I've been doing pretty well. So I had a goal of, and I've reached my goal. I was trying to do 10 grand a month.
Okay. Which would be 20 R's, which is bananas.
So
Beautiful.
I'm trying to go back for.
Love that equity curve.
Yeah. I mean, you should have seen it. It was nasty. It was ugly. I'm trying to get back to, how do I look at it?
Nice curve. All right, so if we look at, go to year to date. So year to date, so it goes like this, for those on the camera, and then does like this, but it doesn't go lower than where you opened it.
Yeah.
But you had a dip. And right now, year to date in total, your whole account, 37% return. Year to date since you opened it, right? Since we started back here and it just slowly creeped up. This is just this year.
That's just this year.
Right, that's just this year. Now, if you go to 1 year, all right, this is the whole thing. So 1 year, you can see it's a little bit more staggered, right? This is mean old Greg right here.
Yeah, that was hold on. Something got to give. This ain't. I can't do this.
This is hilarious. That's a ski slope, man. It's a double black diamond.
That's a double black diamond.
Meow. And then it starts to hold him, and this is where you start implementing pain. This is where you start baselining. But you can see you have a nice, strong growth, which is phenomenal. And if you want $10,000 a month in account growth, this is just my humble opinion. It's very, very hard to just stick to certain stocks. Because when you stick to certain stocks, those stocks are going to move however they want. They're going to do their thing. You cannot, in my opinion, have a monthly goal and just stay in these same companies. Because they may or may not move.
Yeah.
If you want to get out of them, you can, but if the only way you're going to make the money is all the stocks you're in can keep going up. And that won't happen forever, I promise.
Yeah, it kind of getting that false sense of growth right now.
Correct.
Because I understand that those particular ones allowed my account to do this.
Yeah.
But now, which is hence why we're here, I really need to determine when to take my profit out. And again, maybe I don't have to liquidate it all, maybe majority of it, and then move those to some of the lower stocks that are about to move so I can see that growth there also.
Yeah, because it comes down to what is your goal in that particular account. Because you have a NEO position that you're crushing it on that you probably are not going to sell. And that's like your longer term thing.
Not selling it.
Right? So then you have this account. And you're like, my goal in this account was to make $10,000 a month. Again, my opinion, you cannot do that by having 3 or 4 stocks with 3 or 4 or 500 shares a piece and you just let it sit there and let it do its thing. It's a constant cash flow churn, right? You get in, you get out. You take your money, you move on. You recycle that cash. You buy low, you sell high. Then you go find another opportunity, another blockchain stock, or another breakout, or whatever. Something from the swing trading room, right? Like Sundial, SNDL. This one's up pretty nice today. So this one's up 23%, right? So if you snag this, I don't know, February 1st, and you're in it right now, it's up 56%.
Oh, man.
On SNDL, right? So we're in this as a swing trade, an official swing trade. So let's say, for example, you just kind of repeat, right? You take the cash, you go find something else, move it on. Take the cash, move, find something else. That's what I've done. And I know that works. I'm not saying that if you just hold positions, it doesn't work. Obviously, it'll work over the longer run, but you will not be able to create monthly cash flow just sitting in the same stocks over and over and over. It could be quarterly cash flow or yearly, right? Yearly account growth, but it won't be something that perpetually goes higher every single month.
Okay.
Make sense?
Does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if in that particular account, so you're dealing with about 70, I would say instead of going up to 1,000, go from 5. If you end this month profitably, which I think you will.
If I don't, something's drastically wrong. Well, it's 9th day. We got a couple more days to go. Good thing February is a short month.
Yeah, good thing February is a short month. But yes, if you end February profitable, my opinion, my advice as your coach would say, in March, you increase it from 5 to 6.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if March is profitable, you go from 6 to 7. So that would be in April. And then I would stay at 7, because that's right about 1% of your account. I would stay at 7 for 2 months at least. Now, if you're profitable in every single one of those months, look at your account balance. It's probably going to be closer to 80 at that point. Increase that R to 800. And if you're profitable in that month, which would be May, then again, look at your account. And if it hits the 9s, then move it up to 9. If it doesn't hit 9 in May or June, then leave it at 800 until it is 90.
Okay.
I would say stay at 1% for now, because also that account has a lot of swing trades in it, and it's not just a day trading account.
Correct.
Yeah. But you've made really good money day trading on it.
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
One of the biggest things that we can do in trading, my man, is take out profits and reward ourselves. I promise it will be life-changing. Now, that's what you've done here on this trip. But but for those who are watching, it's very important to go, here's some money. This is scary. This is a big number. This is whatever. I'm going to go buy this thing. Because rewarding your brain for doing all this work, it's essential. Essential.
You know, and I do have to add, because we're on film, you know, I definitely appreciate my family for understanding that and letting me be able to come out here on such a milestone birthday. Yeah. But, you know, I take that as the investment into myself. You know, I could have done something, really couldn't because of COVID. But, you know, there's a bunch of other things that we could have tried to do. But my goal was to come here, again, get mentally refreshed, and look for the monetary gains from this. That way, when we're all out of this, I can do something extraordinary with my family and start giving back, you know, more to the community and stuff. So
exactly, because that's the steps, right? The steps is just writing down these goals that we might not think will have a huge impact. Let's say, for example, I'm sure you could probably think of a church, a school, or a community center that needs $1,000. Or a person in your mind is like, if I gave $1,000 cash to this person, their life would change. You can probably think of a few of those people.
Oh yeah, pay us more to work. Pay us for going to work.
So you can be thinking through, okay, how can I impact this particular person? I mean, it can be something that's so interesting and exciting and drastic. As an example, if you work with someone or you pass by someone, you see someone on the road that just needs help, obvious assistance. It doesn't have to be money. Maybe it's food, right? A hotel room, new clothes, and a clean shower, and a shave, and a haircut, right? And so you go to this person and go, hey, let's just hang out for the day. Let me just get to know you as a person. Let me pour into your soul, into your spirit. I mean, that's going to be a life-changing experience for you more than them, because it always feels better to give than receive.
That is true. That's
and so just being able to think about the smallest ways that we can impact our world and change who we are and change our vibration. Because if we drive by, let's say someone, and we hand them money, that's amazing. But they're used to that. How can we give them something even more incredible than that? Maybe it's just a hug. So I'll tell you a story. I did that to a gentleman named Jason. So where I used to live, my old house, that you came to last time you were here. There's a guy who stands there every single day. And in Nashville, you get like a badge to sell a newspaper. And what's the name of that newspaper?
Let's call it Nashville Times.
The Contributor. Thanks, Matthew. Yeah. So the Nashville Times. So the newspaper is called The Contributor, and we allow the city has people that will come in and actually pay for the newspaper. They have to pay, I think it's a penny per page, and the page in the newspaper is written by all sorts of individuals who kind of come together collectively to write stories and ideas and just thoughts and just kind of tell what's happening in the general city of Nashville. And so they are allowed, when they have this badge, to sell the newspaper for however much they want, but most times it's $1 or whatever. So I go to Jason one day. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And I go to Jason, and I'm there in my car, and I'm looking at him, and I don't have any cash on me. I feel bad, and I don't make eye contact with this guy, and I feel like a bum, man. Like, I feel like a bum. Because I don't make eye contact with him. I look down. I don't have any money. I feel ashamed. So whatever. I drive away. And I'm like, I don't want to have that feeling ever again. So I go back and I start thinking in my mind, how can I change this guy's life? Because he's there every single day. And he walks too. He walks up and down. So he's always smiling. He always has like a grin on his face. And he's there forever. It doesn't matter if it's Monday, Sunday, your birthday, or Jesus' birthday. That guy is there hustling. So I'm like, I'm going to go change this guy's life. So I go and write a sign. I didn't know his name at the time. So I was like, hi, my name is, and I just had like a blank. And I was like, I hope you guys all have the best Christmas and the best New Year's ever. I'm going to match dollar for dollar anything you guys give him. And so I was going to be out there and hold a sign with him, right? And so I went up there and I was like, hey, nice to meet you. My name's Jeremy. What's your name? He goes, my name's Jason. So I wrote the name Jason in the space, and I showed the sign. I was like, what do you think about this, man? He was like, I can't read. I don't know what that says. I was like, no worries.
Oh, wow.
Let me read it for you. I was like, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to match dollar for dollar. He's like, what does that mean? I was like, well, if someone comes and they give you a $5 bill, I'm going to match that $5. And he goes like, why would you do that? And I was like, well, I'll tell you my story. And I told him, right? I was like, I didn't have any money. I didn't look at you, man. I didn't even make eye contact with you. And he goes, one of the coolest things ever. He goes, dude, friendship is free.
Wow.
Like, he tells me this, and I'm just like, oh, man. Like, I almost start crying. I'm like, this is insane. So I was like, dude, I'm going to change your life forever. So we hold this sign, and for the first, 2-3 minutes, no one looks at me. So now I'm the guy, because I have this sign.
You're messing up his hustle.
I'm holding this sign, and he's walking up and down, and no one's giving him any money, and no one's looking at me, so I kind of feel weird. But then a cute lady in a Prius gives him like a $20. He turns to me and smiles. He's like, I've never gotten a 20 before. Right? And then boom, boom, boom. And it just starts happening like clockwork. And within 2 hours, he gets $450, which he said normally would take him a month. All right, $450 for a month. He was like, this is the most money I've ever had in my life in one day in cash. And he was like, I don't need you to match this, dude. Don't worry about that at all. I was like, too bad, brother.
It's done deal.
Get in my car. So we get into the car. I drive to an ATM. I walk out my car, get the ATM, take him, give him $450. I had $900 in cash. All right. So then I take him to his family, who was living in a car at the time. And we go, what hotel can you stay at? And we go to the hotel and get him a hotel room for a week and just let him do the whole thing. And that was an amazing experience for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it was an amazing experience for him, but it was an amazing experience for me. And I wasn't doing it greedily, like I wasn't doing it to feel good, but it's a natural thing. And the reason I'm bringing all that up, the reason I'm telling that story, is because all of us can do the smallest, minute, micro things that just need to change our vibrational frequency. Anytime we sit and think and do, if we take one step outside of that comfort zone, our circle of influence grows, our aura grows, our mind and our capacity for love and generosity grows just a little bit. And like you said to me last night, it's in that growth that's always uncomfortable, it's always painful initially because you're scared. Mm-hmm. You're scared of either judgment of what someone else will say, you're scared of judgment based on how someone will feel or how you'll feel, but you have to do it anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
So bringing all that up, this is the opportunity for anyone who's trading to make money easily. We're clicking buttons, man.
I don't want to say easily. It does take some time and effort.
How much though? Once you learn it.
That's the thing. You got to learn it. You have to learn it.
Yeah. Once you learn it, though, is it hard?
No, it's not. It's more mental. Than,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Physically, it's extremely easy.
Physically, yeah.
It's extremely easy.
2 employees or 4 employees sometimes. Depends if you want to be greedy. But,
That's very funny. That's very funny. But yeah, man, I mean, the point is, you are right. You have to take the time, the energy, the dedication, put in the work. But once you learn this skill, there is no upside to how much money you can make. Zero upside. There's no glass ceiling. There's no wooden ceiling. There's no ceiling. If you want to make $1 billion in a day in the stock market, we can. We'd have to put in some serious risk, but it's possible. That's what's crazy. We were talking about the other night. There's 80 opportunities every single year to make as much money in the stock market as you humanly want. Every single year. And we're in those positions, right? You're in them right now. NEO, you're in. Riot, you're in. I mean, it's up 400, 500% since you're in it.
Yeah.
More than that, sorry. It's up 700% since you're in it. 700%.
I picked up Marathon too, just as a sympathy play.
You're in both. So you're in MLR. But that's an amazing amount of, I mean, that's an incredible trade. So just imagine if you put $100,000 into that trade. It'd be worth $700,000 right now.
But the flip side of that too is when things happen that easy, this is how I get that self-doubt, right? When you're in these trades like the NEO, how it happened, or you're in the riots, or you're in the marathons, when you get into those trades, that's kind of like the gift and the curse, because you're getting these things and they just go, right? So I don't want to get overly cocky with knowing that that's where the profits came from. And that wasn't really, it didn't take a lot of effort. Did it take the timing and planning? Yeah, it did, right? But knowing what I knew, it just made sense that these things would do it. But again, with that being said, I don't want to get cocky with my trading, thinking that I can pick them all now and all of these trades are going to work. So I'm still battling with that.
That's true honesty, man. That's true vulnerability. So let me ask you this question. How would you avoid getting cocky?
Well, the first way is the market has a way of bringing you back to earth.
Always.
Right?
Always.
And then I guess the other thing is I'm always talking through stuff. You're always available, so I can shoot you something. But again, you're a busy man. You have a lot of people shooting you things. It's how do we take ownership of our positions in our trades and ride or die with them, and having the ability to understand, like you said, recognizing what's going to not allow me to get cocky. And the thing is I think it's just coming back to the base of understanding why I got into this trade and hopefully seeing the signs to say, don't be too cocky, always analyze, and understanding that all trades aren't going to work.
Mm-hmm. That's one way. Another way is you go in and analyze the trade, extremely detailed. Put a lot of time and energy and effort into it and ask yourself one main question. Why did I get into it? And come up with a plan.
Yeah.
A very, very, very specific set of rules, regulations, guidelines. And as long as you execute the plan, you will make money in the long run.
So again, I started out as a day trader, specifically a bearish trader.
Yep.
So the things that I'm doing now, migrating from bearish, because like I say, you don't get often to go bearish nowadays. You get those little instances, but having to flip my mindset from being a bearish trader to a bullish trader, and then from a day trader to a swing trader, I really didn't have the plan for that, right? To be totally honest.
That's fair.
Yeah, I didn't have a swing trading plan, which is why I got into these. And again, goes back to, well, when we're in the morning rooms, and when people ask the question, when should I get out? And then you were famous, and Brad was famous, and Blake was always famous. So what did your plan say? I keep hearing that in the back of my mind. I was like, man, didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan.
I just got
in, and it just kept going, and it just kept going, and it just kept going. So
which again, it's not the worst thing in the world. But long story short, you're going to do this full time. You're going to do this as a profession. You mentioned you're going to be retiring from your job, which you do love, but you're going to do this full time. And not only that, you're going to teach other people how to do it full time. You're going to teach other people in your community, your family, the leaders in your community how to do this full time. So, with that being said, the way you don't get cocky, in my opinion, Number one, when you feel extremely elated about your trades and you're like, I am on fire, sell them all.
Wow.
That's step one.
Okay.
When you're like, I'm the greatest trader of all time. There's about to be a giant market correction. That's been my method, man. Like, if I ever feel unstoppable and on absolute fire, I'm like, someone should give me $9 million today, and I'll turn it into $20 million by Thursday. So if I ever feel that way, I sell everything. Number one. And by everything, I don't mean like every single stock ever, but
I'll say you can't.
I sell the vast majority of my positions immediately, if I ever get that way.
All right.
Now, number two. What I absolutely do is I go back in time and I study why did I get into that trade. So you got into some of it based on some fundamentals, right? You're again a big blockchain fan. Me and you sat down, we talked about blockchain for like 4 hours, right? Years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm in it and you're in it. So we're both in it heavy, but you took the time, energy, resources, and money to do it. So in 3 years from now, could there be another opportunity? Let's say it's telemedicine, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, telemedicine is going to be really big, and do some research, you figure out some companies, and we put a lot of money into telemedicine, and it goes up. Or if it goes down, that's fine, but you have a plan in place. This is where I get in, this is where I get out, this is how long I hold, but this is the pattern, this is what I see, and you can replicate it. Because you do have to, number one, believe that trading is easy, number one. You do have to believe that it is simple, easy, replicatable. It's just hard.
I believe that, absolutely.
And once we believe that, you go, okay, the market is going to humble us. It is very, very easy to make money when the market's just going up. But it's also easy to make money when it's going down if you know how to play it bearish.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder when it's going sideways, but it's really easy to make any money as long as it's going up or down very fast. So long story short, when we are about to get humbled, I go to cash. I sell a lot of my positions. I take that money and I give it away. Right, I help other people in some form or fashion so that way I feel incredible about my opportunity. And even though I don't sweat about the opportunity cost, I feel like I did something great with that money. So it makes me sleep better at night. And then realistically, I revisit why I got into that trade. And if everything looked good and everything blended with a plan, then I'll replicate it again and again and again.
That's what I got to do. I have to let go of some of these positions that I'm in to get that capital to go into other ones.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a hard thing to do.
It is. But I mean, you just got to be thinking through like, why'd you get into it? You got into it to make money.
Yeah.
Guess what, Greg? You made money.
Yeah.
So, and since you didn't really have a plan on it,
no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. So get better. All right. This is your opportunity to get paid to become a better trader. Where you go, okay, cool. Let me replicate that. Let me find out exactly all the ingredients that made this cake. And let me do it again in the near future.
Which I have the tools to do that.
Correct.
All right.
Any last minute questions? Any other questions?
No. I do, but those other ones are going to be specifically for the option stuff.
Okay, cool.
So
okay.
Yeah, we can save that.
We'll
but
do that later.
I appreciate that, the things that you cover, are definitely things that I'll speak for myself. We know this. We already have this in it, but it just takes, speaking to someone like you with the energy that you have to kind of pull it out and make us believe it.
Yeah.
Make us thoroughly believe it.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between being successful and not successful, in my opinion.
Totally, man. And I want to make sure that everyone's clear on this. This is just my specialty of the whole stock market. So like if you're talking about, spirituality or health and wellness or fitness or how do I get stronger or whatever, I reach out to other professionals. I reach out to other people who spent decades doing this, right? I've spent more hours doing this than most people have sleeping in their lives. Like I've put in time. So I know what I'm doing. Now, do I do it perfectly all the time? Absolutely not. Do I make a lot of money trading? Yes. Do I help more people make money than I make money? Absolutely.
Yeah, you do.
Which is awesome. That's the cool part.
And that's one thing I want to talk about too, because 3 years ago when I sat with you at your house initially and I told you what I wanted to do.
You didn't know anything. It's so funny. You didn't even know what a broker was.
No, I did not.
That's crazy.
And the things that you said, if you stay disciplined and you do X, Y, and Z, which again, I thank you for helping me with that direction.
Course,
all that stuff started coming through.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about the money. It was about the people that I can help,
yep.
Which now is even more scarier because now the people do come to me and I want to make sure that I have the toolage to provide them the things that were given to me.
Yep.
Because that's a real scary thing when someone looks to you for something and you want to make sure it works.
Totally.
You know, you want to make sure it works, but you have no control over it. You can only give your best, honest analysis, and hopefully that they do the same and succeed from it. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Oh, dude, of course, my pleasure. And again, for those who are watching this video, we're gonna have other coaching sessions, but we're not gonna be filming them. So anyway, thank you so much, brother.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
I know this is a little scary with all the lights and the cameras, but would you believe that was almost an hour?
No, that was about 30 minutes. Was it an hour?
Yeah, man. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
First class, baby. It flies first class.
Yeah.
Get it. All right, team from around the world, thanks so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. You guys absolutely are amazing, and I hope you found it helpful, valuable, and of course, enriching. And until next time, love life, live life, and trade it.
Love life, live life, trade it.
We'll see you later, guys.